little shook up, but I'm all right. This wasn't how I wanted to end such an epic Harlan trip, but there was an accident in front of me and 3 cars in front of me go left and right. They all start hitting people. I literally just had nowhere to go, nowhere near enough brakes, and man, it was hard hit. My arms are tore up from the airbags, and I never had an airbag go off. That freaking dusty stuff like killed me. So once again, I'm stranded hours from home, and my favorite truck is totaled. Well, it's been a couple hours since the wreck. The highway patrol let us take care of it ourselves, and since I got friends and trailers and stuff, I ain't paying a tow bill on top of everything else I've had to deal with. I ain't gonna lie, there's some freaking tears that's come out about my truck, man. I keep saying it, but I love this truck. But good friends, some I ain't even spoke to in quite some time, came through to help because I was in need. I'm forever grateful for the help I've had. Good to know, folks. At least I ain't paying a tow bill, and I'm gonna get all my stuff home instead of 2 hours from home. We're gonna have to strap that hood down. I'm gonna have to stomp on it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to beat it down. What your name is?
What?
Now is the opportunity for you to set Philip correctly what your real name is. Hey, look.
Hey, you're so lucky if you heard the podcast.
Yeah.
This is Quee Quee.
Quee Quee. It's not Quee Quee. It's Quita
It was
or
supposed to-
Shaquita.
It was supposed to be Quita, which was short for Shaquita, which was just a joke. But on the podcast, I said Quee Quee, and we all know what we think that means.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, what?
Hi, you do got your straps, right?
Yeah, they're in the passenger floorboard.
Just add an insult to injury. Strap it. Well, here's my old favorite truck. If you don't know, I travel full time. I live in a camper with my rock crawler. This was my backup truck because the motor blew up in that truck. You'll have to look for that video in the description and check out the channel to see our whole journey. We go all over the country. So, and 10,000 miles, 15,000 miles of travel, I make it all the way back to my home state and total this truck. Airbags deployed, bent the frame, pushed all this back. We had to stomp on this hood to get it down, tow it back. Pushed all that up against the firewall. I had a spare 42 in the bed, and it was just like plowed through. I believe this Gen Y hitch possibly helped save me and my passenger's life. It twisted the whole hitch, everything. I think the leverage and the rubber bushings in there allowed some give at the impact. So that impact, I think, allowed that to all twist and not be such a shock on the straps. You know, I had my buggy on the back of the trailer, and man, it was quite the impact. So let me tell you about that real quick. So I'm real glad that I got to come back to my family and this little guy here, because I don't really know how it looks on camera, but it was quite the accident, and it just happened real suddenly. So I know everybody's wondering, I didn't hit the ditch or anything to avoid an accident. I could not avoid the accident. We were traveling down the highway, roughly 60, 65-ish. I think speed limit was 70. There were people in front of me, several car lengths ahead, probably 3.5, 4 car lengths ahead. There was an accident in front of those people. Somebody jammed on their brakes or something. I don't know what happened. And all of these people began to crash. They dart left, and I tried to go left to avoid it, and there was no room unless I got into the guard wire, because one car had already hit another car and went left. I tried to go back right, and there was another car that had already crashed into someone else and kind of bounced out in front of me, and I just creamed right into the back of them. And I'm gonna tell you what, it rang my bell. I've never been hit with an airbag or anything. It's way more violent than I thought. There was enough time. I got 8,000 pounds behind me. There was enough time for me to try and go left and try to go right, all in a split second. And I had enough time to say to my passenger, Rod, I said, this ain't gonna be good, Rod. And about that time, that's when I hit. And I was like this on the steering wheel. And then I was like this, like, whoa. And I hit those cars, and with so much weight, I just hit and plowed right through. So I was turned to the right, steering all locks up. I go off the road a little bit. I'm out of it. I'm definitely out of it. And Rod was like pushed back enough that he never got into the airbag or anything. So he's fine. And he's like, man, we gotta get out. We gotta get out. And I'm like, whoa, I think I broke my hand. And my door won't open. And he's like, man, get out, it's gonna catch on fire. And I just look over at Rod, and I'm like, it knocks the wind out of me. And this thing has got some very toxic dust in it. So I finally get that wind back in me. I suck in, but all this dust is, so then my lungs are on fire. And I'm like, oh gosh, I think in my haze of this impact, I think I must be dying. I must be in bad shape, and this is what dying feels like. Which probably looks a little silly all in hindsight, but I was just in a daze from just getting hit by this airbag. It knocked me out just a little bit. I was really confused for the first 5 minutes after the accident. But I was thinking for a split second, this must be dying, and it hurts way more than I hoped. And man, that sucked. But then it's like the fog starts to clear, and Rod's talking to me more, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. And I just shove the door open and get the fender all bent up, and I get out of here. But I want to tell you, I'm not a perfect person, but I have faith in Jesus Christ. I don't believe it blindly. I have a lot of evidence and reasons that I believe the Bible, and I believe what I believe confidently, not because someone else told me to. Maybe that's another discussion in a different video, but I want to be open about my faith. Man, I believe that Jesus Christ died and rose again. I'm very confident in that. I love to share that with people in a respectful way, sharing beliefs and conversation. So if you ever meet me and you want to talk about that, let's talk about it. You want to talk about it in the comments, let's have a respectful discussion about it if you want to. If you don't believe, or if you want to know why I believe, leave me a comment. But God is good, folks. I'm glad to be here. I'm going to strip the seats out of this truck and save them, because I have put Tahoe interior in this truck. So as I was saying, I'm not a perfect person. I'm not a perfect example. Being a follower of Christ is very different than just following a bunch of rules and rituals. That's nothing. That's called religion. Or just blindly believing. You should have a reason to give account for everything. Goodbye, old girl. Man, that truck was good right up to the end. It's the only truck I ever owned that paid me to own it. Bought a Ford F-150 for $1,000, sold it for $1,500. Bought a truck identical to that with a 6.0 in it for $1,500. Drove it for like 3 years. Sold it for $4,000. Then I bought that 8.1 truck for $3,000. So it was a completely free truck, and I just sold it for $1,500 after driving that one for 2 or 3 years. Don't get much better than that. So that's what happened to the truck. Best truck I ever owned. God is good. I can get another truck. I hope you enjoyed this video. Tune in next time.